So I mentioned earlier that this is the first project in a new series of I Could Make That. And my inspiration to think, well, I could make that, really came from watching a number of different YouTube channels. And I've got to give credit to Oliver at Bradshaw Joinery. His series on casement window manufacturer for a client of his who was doing something similar really gave me the confidence that this is doable. And having spoken to multiple different joinery companies that really didn't want to have anything to do with making good on someone else's bad windows, which I understand why from a business point of view. But I was kind of left with either pay a big bill, destroy the external render, have to make good on all of that, re-render the entire front side of the house and back side of the house after an expensive window supply and installation project. I thought I've got to find another way, and having a go myself really seems sensible. And there are other culprits, the restoration couple, if you can do it yourself. I really believe in that, and I've got some great inspiration from them. And then looking at Andy at Manor Wood and seeing some of the tooling, and of course I'm hooked on wood with Dennis, and seeing some of the tooling that he used, I started to prepare for this fairly monumental project. And I realized that it's a bit of an elephant and I'm going to have to eat it in small chunks. And so I started with the first chunk, and that was to measure up the windows and draw the profiles. So I got my calipers out and looked at the existing windows, and I found I had a 16.3 Euro profile that was cut in, and then I had a weather stripping set up on the casement itself. Ordinarily you'd probably find that in the frame. And then a 9-degree chamfer here for the window beading, and then beaded on the inside. So external, internal, and this overall cross section. And then I started to realize that this was all quite standard once I started looking at the different tooling options. And as I say, David at Whitehill Tools was incredibly helpful. And £1,500 later, I left with all the bits and pieces that I needed. So, not for the faint-hearted to go do this yourself, but I was looking forward to doing other projects with my new spindle moulder. So there you have it. And if you've watched my other videos on my channel, you know that I'm a bit of a 3D printing fanatic. And so once I'd taken those measurements and drawn it up as a sketch, I then drew a 2D sketch in OnShape and turned that into a 3D model. And once I had it as a 3D model, I thought, well, this is perfect for 3D printing. So I started to print. I extruded the 2D sketches into 3D models. This is the stile in the orange, and then I mocked up the rail in red, and then started to figure out how these would fit together. So tenon on the rail and mortise on the stile, and got that fitting together quite nicely. Then it was a whole trying to find the most appropriate weather stripping. So I've got this supplied from Ready Seals, which fits in quite nicely. And so I was able to confirm that with all the tooling that I'd specified and purchased, I'd be able to construct the window casements so that they would fit in with the existing installation. And here's the cross section of the mullion on the frame itself, and you can see it fits in nicely there. So let's just have a look in a little bit more detail at the drawing that I made of the cross section of the window stile, which is the same cross section as the window rail. As I mentioned, it's a 16.3 Euro groove here that takes the window hardware, locking hardware. The weather strip has a 5mm by 8mm deep groove cut, and ultimately I've chosen a different type of weather stripping which requires a 3mm groove. I'll show that in the tooling. We have the window bead here with a 9-degree angle, chamfer cut here, and it's a 15mm deep rebate, and there'll be some window beading down here in ovolo that I will cut afterwards. The glazing is here, so there's a sealed unit here with a sealed unit bar and some glazing tape here and here. So I mentioned that the first thing I did was to draw this up as a sketch, a two-dimensional sketch in OnShape, and here I've exported that sketch to a drawing, and you can see the cross-section here of the window frame mullion. So this is the vertical member of the window against which the vertical portion of the window casement closes. So the window will open like this and close like this. So this is the vertical stile, and going across horizontally will be the window rail. So I mentioned here's the glazing. It's a sealed unit, glazing tape around here, glazing beading on the inside of the window, the rebate cut here with a 9-degree scribe, well actually a 9-degree cut. I'll scribe into the rail when I cut that later. The weather stripping now has a 3mm groove, and it's a 16.3 euro groove cut up here, so that's 12.3mm plus 2 plus 2, so 2, 14.3, 16.3. So all in all, I then extruded that into a 3-dimensional model, and as I mentioned, I then 3D printed that so I could have a physical representation of the window. And this is the window with the 5mm groove, and here I've mocked up the glazing unit, so outer glass, inner glass, glazing bar. This will be glazing tape here, here, and here, and here's the inner beading ovolo. Now, I did another iteration of this with the 3mm weather strip groove, and ultimately the weather stripping that I decided to use is from Deventer. I bought it from Ready Seals, and you can see here it's designed to fit into a groove that's between 2.8 and 4.2mm wide. I've opted to cut a 3mm groove, and I'll show you the tooling in a moment. And this is a 12mm piece sealing part of the weather stripping. And this is the weather stripping here. You can see the detail. And if I offer that up to the model, you can see that presses into that spot there, and will seal up against the window mullion like that when it closes. Open, close. So I then further iterated and made some fine tuning to the cross section of the stile, and then I started to figure out how I was going to do the joinery. And to do that, I mocked up a stile, the vertical stile, and the horizontal rail to both have the same profile, the 16.3 euro profile, the 3mm groove here, and then the rebate with the 9-degree chamfer. On the rail I'll then have a tenon, and on the stile, the vertical stile, I need to cut a mortise, or a groove in this case. And you can see here the detail, sorry, with the camera, you can see the detail of the weather stripping inserted into both the stile and the rail. So this is how it will look when this is completed. There'll be a 3mm radius roundover on each of these edges, which will end up with a V groove here vertically. So let's have a look at the tooling. So this is the Whitehill 16.3 Euro cutter, which will cut this groove you can see here. So this is the benefit of having a 3D printed 3D printed model prototype to check all of this. So it's also quite useful for aligning the material to the then cutters once mounted in the spindle moulder. But this is the 16.3 Euro groove cutter. Again from Whitehill, this is a 3mm, 140 millimeter diameter, 3mm wide weather strip grooving saw, which you can see will be used to cut that weather strip groove. And finally, when it comes to, this is a big beast here, so this is, I'm being careful not to cut myself on these on the cutters. So this is a Whitehill 200 by 16 by 30, so it's a 30mm bore. It's a 16mm wide grooving cutter. And you can see when it comes time to cut the mortise or the groove into the stile to accept the tenon that I will cut in the rails, this is the cutter that I will use, or the block that I will use to do that, perform that function. And what you can see here in the mounted in the spindle moulder now is a Whitehill 125mm by 55 combi head block. So this is a block that accepts these cutters and limiters onto a block that over which I can pass material, and there's no part of the spindle blocking. It's a flush mount on the top, so I can pass the material all the way across the top of this cutter block to get a very deep tenon. And it's not going to be necessary to use that in this particular case, but just to give you an idea of what the material will look like. This is the first pass across this cutter, and these are 9-degree scribe cutters that I've got mounted in here. So it's cutting the bottom part of the tenon with a 9-degree scribe. So ultimately that will fit in against the 9 degrees on the stile. And last but not least, it's probably worth just noting this is an upgrade that I designed. So I designed some inserts that could fit into the standard hammer fences for the F3 that allow me to mount in a T-track, effectively an adjustable and sacrificial fence to provide a little bit of protection above the cutter here, and by using the sliding table and cross-cut fence, I'm able to tenon each of these stiles and rails across the top of this combi head. So I've got my stile in orange, my rail in red, the white weather stripping, and you can see the mortise and tenon is all figured out, along with scribe and cut for the glazing appearance on the outside. So it'll look like from the outside, and we'll have a V-groove here, and then that all fits into the frame of the existing window, such that it seals nicely. So from there, I've clearly got to process quite a lot of Accoya. So I bought it as well, rough sawn, but it's not that rough, but sawn and nominally dimensioned 63 by 150 by 4.8 meters. Those are millimeters, my American friends. 63 millimeters, 2.5 inches by 150, so 6 inches by 4.8 meters, lots of feet. And I've had that cut down into manageable lengths, so I can get it. I'm not a professional, so no van involved or pickup truck or anything, or trailer getting it into the back of my SUV. So cut that down into manageable lengths based upon the sizes of my casements. And so I've got 1.1 meter lengths, allowing some additional cut-off for the stiles, and I've got 600 millimeter lengths for the rails. So to get that out of the rough sawn, I've used the bandsaw to cut down to the initial lengths, widths and depths, and I'll finish the last processing the last few of those on the bandsaw next, and then it's on to planing and thicknessing, or jointing and thicknessing. So follow along as I take you through those steps.